It's 11:50 p.m. on a Sunday night. The rapid taps of a keyboard fill the air as you glance nervously at the blinking clock. Words get plastered into amalgamated sentences that stumble their way into somewhat paragraphs. It feels like 5 seconds go by, but you look again and it's 11:55. Two more sentences get plastered on, and a familiar buzzing rings in the air. 11:59. Time's up. The deadline has arrived, and in front of you, you have the goal, the product you've been working towards, as finished or unfinished as it is. So how do we define our successes in these situations? Well, usually we wait for a grade to come back. Hopefully quickly, usually not. And we are able to have this tangible thing in front of us that serves as a metric for either how much we failed or how much we succeeded. It's something that we can put on our refrigerator to feel proud of and to smile at, or to bury deep into our backpacks, never to see the light of day again. So we have one aspect of success, tangibility. So let's add another dimension to this definition, time. So let's say you are in an online class and you're able to finish it in 18 weeks of beginning it. And you finish with pretty good grades. You're pretty proud of yourself. But then you start looking around and you notice that your peers around you were able to finish it within 9 weeks. How do you feel about that now? How does that change how you view your accomplishments? Does it make you feel any less accomplished? So we have two aspects of success now: tangibility and time. And now I'm looking around the room and I'm seeing a mix of confusion and slight apprehension, kind of how you wait outside a door knowing that your dog made a mess in the other room. What is this guy telling me? Should I not have tangible and timely goals that I work towards? What am I doing? And no, that's not what I'm trying to tell you here. We should all have things that we work towards in life. But what I want to focus on is how we view the products of these goals and how we view the products of the successes and failures that we either get or don't get. So as I said before, we have two aspects of success: tangibility and time. And as such, we tend to view these as the only criteria for success that should be celebrated. And when we do that, we tend to, one, gloss over the complexity that is success, but also tend to fall into some holes that I'll go into later. So let's break down success. So in your brain, you have these things called neurotransmitters, and one of them is dopamine. And how it works with your dopamine agonist receptor is that, so I'm kidding. I'm not here to give you a neuroscience lecture, even though that is really important of how success and functionality in the brain works. I want to take a more holistic approach to it. So for the simplicity of time, let's break down success into two categories. Our tangible and timely successes, or how I like to call them, Facebook successes, and then our personal or life successes. So Facebook successes are quite literally what they sound like. Successes that you feel comfortable and proud of to post on your social media because you know it'll get over 100 likes on Facebook or 50 retweets. It'll have your aunt that you've never met before commenting, telling you how proud of you she is. These are successes that we don't necessarily encounter often, and we put a lot of work into it, such as job offers, internships, graduate school acceptances, things like that. Whereas our personal or life successes are things we tend to encounter more on a daily basis. They might be cooking at home for an entire week and saving your money, or going to the gym for an entire month and putting your health first, or going to yoga, meditation, putting your mental health forward. And they're things that society tells us that we should focus on, but we don't necessarily feel so too comfortable with posting about them and celebrating as much. And as a result, a lot of us, myself included, fall under the heavy hand of only celebrating ourselves and acknowledging our accomplishments when we receive these Facebook successes, but not with our personal life successes. How many of us have looked down at the disappointing red ink on an exam and thought, I am a failure? Not that I failed this one exam, but I am the failure. How many of us have looked at the award in someone else's hand or the pay raise in someone else's bank account and thought, why wasn't that me? Why did I fail like this? Without realizing, it was the culmination of all of our personal life successes that even put us in the opportunity to get those rewards. It was all the hard work we put into studying that put us in that class, that gave us the opportunity to fail that exam. It was the study, it was all the hours we put into passion or career that allowed us to be even in the running for those awards or a pay raise. So why is this so important right now? Let's shift the perspective a little bit. Why is this so important on a college campus right here, right now? What's the danger of only focusing on certain successes? Let's take your average college university student that came into the university with the sole purpose of becoming a doctor. They wanted to study medicine, and this is how they're going to change the world. But along the way, life happens. Things get pushed to the side, turned upside down, and they realize medicine might not be their passion anymore. And now they're, two weeks away from graduation with only semblances of a plan in mind. What do you think is going through this person's head right now? Do you think they're going to look back at all their rich personal life experiences they've had in college and be proud of that? Because after all, these are the best 4 years of our life, right? Maybe, but that doesn't produce a tangible or timely success. So maybe they're going to look down at their diploma and be proud of that. Or maybe they're going to look around and see their peers that just happen to find out concrete plans and then look back at themselves and think, wow, what have I been doing? What have I done? Would you consider that person to be a failure because they weren't able to figure their whole life out in the 4 years given to them? No, I wouldn't, and you wouldn't. But we as social and cultural institutions tend to put burdens on our students where we give them these 4 years and tell them, go, explore, have fun. But then as soon as we hit that deadline of graduation, the tone shifts. And we start saying, so what have you accomplished? What are you doing? Oh, you don't know yet? Well, you better find out. And every second after that, that diploma in our hand gets heavier, and it feels like there's more disappointment putting down on our shoulders. So what's the tangible result of this? It's higher rates of anxiety in our demographic than any other demographic before us. And I know what you're thinking, damn millennials. First they sunk the diamond market, now they're trying to take stress away from us. But why is this true? So a study done in Berkeley asked a group of postgraduate students what their highest stressors were. Answers ranged from pressure of finding a job, pressure of beginning a career, the pressure of starting. So what's the common denominator in here? Pressure. And am I standing in front of you telling you that all pressure is bad? No. Positive pressure is a good thing. It's enriching. It's motivating. It tells us that life is short, so we better spend the time finding things that we love to do. But let's go back to our recent example of the recent graduate. Do you think them looking down at their diploma and thinking that they've been a failure these past 4 years sounds like positive pressure? Or do you think them going to family functions and hearing, well, so-and-so got into this graduate, this law, this medical school. Why don't you do what they did? They're going to be successful. Does that sound like positive pressure to you? So we need to start breaking into the mold that one, life success has a deadline, and two, that certain successes are not worthy of acknowledgement and celebration just because they don't produce timely and monetary value. So usually at this point in an inspirational talk, I would give you a list of celebrities like Oprah or J.K. Rowling that didn't find their success until much later in life and after failing a lot, which is important, but it doesn't necessarily leave you with a poignant life plan of how to supplement your life in classic TED Talk fashion. So that's why I would like to introduce you to the concept of Ikigai. So in the public health sphere, there are these areas in the world called blue zones. And in blue zones, that's where a higher number of centenarians or people living past the age of 100 are located. And one of the biggest blue zones in the world is in Okinawa, Japan. So researchers went into Okinawa to study these people and interview them to figure out why are they living for so long? What is the secret to their longevity? And that's when they came across the concept of Ikigai. So translated from Japanese, Iki means life, Gai means worth, or together, life's worth, or conversationally translated, one's reason for getting out of bed in the morning. Ikigai is a concept that states that life's true meaning, true passion, is found from hundreds of self-reflection hours or self-reflecting on hundreds of life's experiences. It's the idea that what you love to do is your center. Everyone has a center and their passion or their Ikigai. And once they find that, they can start building their life around that in all aspects, socially, culturally, career-wise. When they went into Okinawa and they interviewed the inhabitants, they asked them what their Ikigais were. And they ranged from tangible things to abstract things. One person's Ikigai was that they were the fisherman, or the best fishermen in their area, and they could provide for their family and friends and help the local economy. That's what brought them worth. Others said that their ikigai was their family, waking up every morning to take care of their grandchildren. And some were even more abstract. A gentleman who did a talk on this subject said his ikigai was to delight. To bring out the happiness and passion in others gave them life worth. Ikigai is a fluid concept, and it progresses as life progresses. It's not forced, it's not pressured, and it definitely does not have a deadline. So let's apply it to our topic right here of success and whatnot. So to find your ikigai, it's where what you love meets what you're good at, meets what the world needs, and then what you can be rewarded with. Or, in other words, where your passion meets your mission, meets your vocation, and ultimately meets your profession. So am I standing in front of you right now telling you that you need to wait your entire life to find what you want to do in your career, find your ikigai? No, I'm not. Ikigai is not a concept based in waiting. Quite the opposite. Have you ever heard the saying, find what you love, then find a way to get paid for it? What's the first part of that sentence? Find what you love. Ikigai is a concept of always moving forward in a direction. It might not be the direction that you know of or what's right for you, but as long as you're moving forward in a direction, you're building up these small life experiences, which will go on to impact you later and increase your probabilities of success. Because a lot of us in this times of our lives get kind of backed into a corner with this looming, daunting entity over our heads, ticking down until a deadline. And because of that, we feel like we need to pick it. We need to pick a decision right now and stick with it. And often those decisions are forced and not really right for the person. What seems worse to you? Not having a tangible life success immediately after college, like a job, internship, or something like that? Or panic picking something, a job that doesn't necessarily fit you, but it checks off the tangibility and timely aspects, and having it develop into a career that later down the road you don't love? Doesn't sound too bad to take some time off, right? So how do we help? What do? We need to start embracing the concept of I don't know yet, and bolstering the drive of self-exploration and making it okay to search things out and find yourself. And don't think this isn't happy just because certain older generations are telling you that's not how life works. In all Florida public universities, 38.7% graduated within the 4-year mark. 64.4% took a little extra time and graduated in 6 years. 1/3 of all law students go straight from undergrad to law school. 2/3 take some time off in between that. Universities that we've come to respect, the Harvards, the Yales, the Princetons, all have gap year programs built into their curriculum to allow their students extra time to figure out who they are. When asked, 98% of people who took a gap year said, it helped me develop as a person, increased my maturity, increased my self-confidence, increased my communication skills, helped me interact with people from different backgrounds, and help me acquire skills to be successful in my career. And I want to focus on that last statistic, because often we give our students these 4 years as the time for them to develop these skills. And once that deadline hits, we assume that everyone develops at the same pace and they're all ready for the workforce. And we think just because they'll be making money, they're going to be successful. But again, by pigeonholing our students, we actually set them up for failure more than success. So what is the point of all this? I want to change the idea that time has to be this daunting and looming entity. Instead, it can be enriching. It can be motivating. It can be the idea that life is short, so we need to spend it doing things that we love, searching for ourselves, and finding our passion. We need to start celebrating these small successes because they are the ones that build up to be who we are and culminate in us making huge impacts in the world. At the end of the day, deadlines are for papers and exams, not life. Thank you.